Today on episode 17 of the Reaper Paranormal Show, The Haunted Cecil Hotel. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? I am Roy, and today we have another great episode for you people. But first, I'm joined by my co-host and operator team member Tom, and this crazy person. It was supposed to be Shay, but apparently she's been possessed.
I love that mask.
That is so cool. If you're watching on video, you can see, this masked woman is Shay. She had a mask on. Now she took it off. If you're on audio, too bad. You missed out. Come check out the video. So, yes, welcome to the show. And want to know why I just did that. And welcome back, Miss Shay. How we doing, Shay and Tom?
Good. How are you?
It's good to be back. Took a week off. You guys somehow survived without me.
We did. Somehow, we did.
If you didn't watch last week's episode, it was a great episode. You guys should check it out. These guys did a very good job. Great episode. We want to learn about the South
End Werewolf. Bill Ramsey, the South End Werewolf. Yes, if you want to hear me nervously host for the first time, check it out. It was a very fun episode. Very fun. It was
pretty awesome. You know, I do the editing, and usually I was telling Shay, I speed up the editing for the process, and I actually listened to the episode because I wanted to hear the story, and because I don't think I knew much about the werewolf, so I wanted to hear about it, and they did a great job. And you really need to watch and listen to the episode, or you can watch it on YouTube. Whatever you want to do. Either way, listen to it, watch it, do whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah, I didn't know much about it going into I heard it and stuff. I may have even heard a podcast. I don't remember, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool, interesting story. Very wild. It's but yeah, check out the episode. You get to hear me and Shay's punditry on it. So
your favorite member. Sorry.
Yes, my favorite RPI member, Shay.
I think Shay is everyone's favorite member. Her episodes are the most popular. When you did her interview, they have the most downloads for our podcast.
I mean, I'm awesome.
Well, I think this means she has some friends. Whereas my friends don't watch our shows or download our shows, so are they really friends? I'm trying to wonder. But Shay's friends are really supporting her. So I don't know about you, Tom, but my friends aren't supporting us.
Yeah, not too much. Much.
You're all bastards.
Yep.
But seriously though, her episodes, especially her interview episode, the one about Shay is the most downloaded.
Nice.
And it increases every week. So congratulations on that, Shay.
Nice.
I can't even tell you this. I kept forgetting.
And a plug. Shay is on another podcast. Was on another podcast about NPEs I listened to, and it was an excellent episode. Excellent. You definitely check it out. What's the name of the podcast? Is it NPE?
NPE Stories.
NPE Stories.
No, I haven't listened to that yet.
It very, very cool. I knew nothing about NPEs before Shay kind of explained it to us, and really cool.
It's a huge phenomenon. It's like the DNA tests are just uprooting lives like crazy and unprecedented.
Why don't you give a quick little synopsis, real quick?
For NPEs or for my story? No, I don't mind. My story. So
what are you gonna do?
Basically, I'm an NPE, and NPE either stands for not parent expected or non-paternal event. And that basically means, to put it very nicely, that I was misled as to who my biological father was. Yeah, I mean that's really kind of it, and I just kind of talk about like the new family that I have gotten in touch with, and the little traits that I'm finding I have in common that I never had in common with anyone before, and so it's kind of neat. But yeah,
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to listen to the episode tomorrow. Last day of vacation. Bastard.
that stinks.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'll get in another week. So you want to jump into this?
Yep, let's do it.
Do you want me to lead? You guys said?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. All right, guys. The Cecil Hotel was built in 1924 by William Banks Hanner, Charles L. Dix, and wasn't there a third person?
Yep, Robert H. Shops. Schops.
Say that again, Tom.
Robert H. Shops. I think I'm saying that right. It's Schops. Shops.
Yeah, for some reason, to my notes, I thought I wrote it down. Apparently, I didn't. I knew there were 3 people, but it cost $1.5 million to build. Imagine that. You couldn't get. What would that get you today? A backyard lot.
Yep.
You know,
Crazy.
holy Jesus! And that hotel is huge. If
Yes.
you guys go online and do a Google search of the hotel, or if you watch the Netflix special, it's enormous.
19 floors and over 700 rooms in the hotel.
700 rooms.
And yep, 19 floors and over 700 rooms.
Almost as big as my mansion in the Alps. So
It's close. It's close.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's getting up there, pretty close.
Yeah.
So when it was built, it was a beautiful hotel. It was marble in the lobby, stained glass windows, potted palm trees. Early years, it thrived as a fashionable destination. And this lasted throughout the 1940s. But 5 years after being built, our country sank into the Great Depression. So that hurt the hotel. And beyond the 1940s, the hotel started its decline. 700 rooms, that's a pretty easy for it to decline.
Yes.
How many rooms do you think a regular hotel has?
Oh God, it all depends.
Is it that many?
Yeah.
No, not usually. Maybe like in a Vegas, yes, because you got like the big places, but yeah, not usually. If you're thinking about your like standard Hilton or something that you would go like around us. So if you went to like Boston, I don't think that like a Hilton or a Marriott has 700 rooms. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's that big.
It just sounds like a lot of rooms.
That is a lot.
And I could be wrong too, or maybe I'm just way off. I don't get out very much, so it's very possible. I don't know, but man, 700 rooms. That maybe that blows my mind.
Yeah, well, like you said, and that can attribute to it kind of going into disrepair, and then also, like Roy was saying, in the 40s. So the Cecil Hotel, right in that area is Skid Row. I've actually been to Skid Row in LA the last time I was there, and it's a very depressing place because it's just blocks upon blocks upon blocks with over 10,000 homeless people. And
does the band perform there? Ho! Get it, the band Skid Row?
Yeah, I get it.
Anybody?
Waka, waka.
Come on!
So yeah, so it's very depressing. People on top of people, drugs, cops very rarely go through. It's usually, if they do, it's like once in the morning and once at night, and they don't really stop. It's just, there's no law there. It's very sad. People just sleeping on sidewalks, tents everywhere in these empty lots. And the people with tents are the lucky ones, because most people don't. So that attributed to it. And as we're getting more and more homeless people, the Skid Row became bigger, which made it, fall into more disrepair.
He said there were up to 10,000 homeless people at one point.
Oh, there's over that. There's over that right now.
Jesus,
when I was out there a couple years ago, it was incredible. It was just.
Now, I heard that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I heard that it was expanding. On my notes, it says it was a 4-mile radius. Is that still the case? Do you know, or has it gotten bigger?
I believe it's bigger than that.
That's crazy.
I don't know offhand because it just like you go down like one strip and it's there and it's like over a block and it's just it's depressing, man. If you never like I had heard of it, Skid Row, but when I was out there hanging out with a buddy and he was like, "Hey, you want to take a ride through there?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to see everything," and we did, and I'm glad I did, but I was also sad after going through there.
Say that again, Tom.
I said I was glad I went through it when he asked me if I did, but I was sad after going through it because it's very depressing to see people having to live like that, and it's for a superpower or whatever we are, the world's leader. We're fighting over giving people $1,400 so they can survive through the COVID. And they won't give the people that need it the most a pay raise. Well,
they shut that down. Not going on a rant, but just stating the fact.
I mean, just to piggyback on that, they estimated to end world hunger would cost about $40 billion.
That's it.
Yeah, Elon Musk made $153 billion last year.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, so between all that horrible stuff happening around the hotel, in 2011, they decided to do a rebranding. And the hotel became named Stay on the Main. People got a separate entrance, separate reception area, but weirdly, which I can understand why, they had to share all the same facilities, including the elevators. Now, can you imagine? You're an uppity, not say a wealthy person, but upper middle class, going through an elevator with some, basically a homeless, skeevy person that's high on crack. Can you imagine that? How's that conversation go?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it was when they did this rebrand. Like you said, they made that separate lobby and they kind of like sectioned off an area, like a few floors that was just going to be that Stay on Main, where the other, because this is it's what they call a transient hotel, so you can rent by like the day, the week, and then the month. So people are living there for years on end. And then I think if you in the Netflix special, there was a guy who lived there for over 40 years, because it was so cheap. At one point, it was like $1 a night or something like that. So they could go, panhandle and then what's that?
I'm sorry. It was great that people clean your rooms for you. You don't have to clean your room ever. Nice clean linen every day.
But a very weird thing to have, try to make it like it's two different hotels, but it's all the same, just two separate lobbies. And if you looked at it, like Stay on Main was modern. It was almost marketed more towards like the young sort of hip travelers that want to come in and, stay at somewhere for a reasonable price. That's still kind of nice. But in reality, wasn't that nice. They did some renovations and stuff, but from what I hear, it was kind of shoddy. So,
yeah. And speaking of that, in 2014, it was actually sold to a New York hotelier named Richard Bourne for $30 million. And Simon Barron Development then acquired a 99-year ground lease on the property. 99 years. Why would you do that? I don't get that. Mm-hmm. And in 2016, Matt Barron, president of Simon & Barron, he said he was committed to preservation of the historical significance of the building. Because, think about it, at the beginning, it was this grand, magnificent hotel. And then between the homeless coming to the area and all the, things breaking down in the building and them trying to remodel the building, like Tom said, doing shoddy work, that all takes its toll. And then, when you come down to the end, you have a piece of crap sitting there, and that's exactly what happened. And in 2017, the LA City Council finally deemed it an historic cultural monument of the city. So then it was preserved. But
I
yeah,
like that because it's like too often throughout we're always looking to modernize things, and then we lose some great architecture and stuff. I love architecture so much, and so when I read that, I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome that they did. They made it a historical cultural monument. That's awesome.
yeah, you don't see that enough nowadays. Sometimes you're gonna fight to make something a historical place when things should be like in Bridgewater. Our paranormal team helps host a paranormal walk before this thing started going around that we can't say. And there's an area of Bridgewater where the Underground Railroad is. Railroad. I ate spicy noodles earlier. Maybe that's having an effect on me. And they were trying to preserve some of the buildings, and something happens. A paper slipped through the paperwork, and the day the buildings were set to be preserved, at least one of the buildings had already been torn down. So we lost historical landmarks of the Underground Railroad. Now, you can go a lot of ways with this. You can say some people didn't want anything remaining from slavery era to be hanging around. They didn't want the stigma, whatever you say. It was still historical landmarks, and they couldn't preserve them. It was nice to see that, despite what was going on around them, they were able to preserve that. Do I think that would have happened here? I bet you that would not have happened here. I bet you they wouldn't have preserved it here, which is a shame. Shame. But anyway, that's the local history of the hotel. Now we also got some haunted stuff, so we'll stop right there. Now, what do you guys want to do about the rest of it? Do you want to stop it here, or do you want to?
So you want to maybe
We can stop it here and just do the thing next week, or we can do whatever you guys want.
Well, so I'm either way. I'm good.
You've been quiet.
You want to talk a little bit of just about its reputation for violence and stuff, and then just kind of tease Black Dahlia, Elisa Lam, stuff like that.
Yeah,
we can talk about a little bit about it was known for violence, first documented suicide, 27, stuff, just little things like that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'll lead it with that.
All right. So the Hotel Cecil. Sorry, trying to figure out how I'm going to jump into it.
Well, I'm going to say so let's talk about the violence of the hotel. I'll give the overview, something like that.
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about the Cecil Hotel's reputation for violence, murder, and suicide.
The good stuff. The meat.
Yes. The interesting but sad stuff.
Okay.
So the first document. What? Oh, I'm
sorry.
You're
laughing.
Oh, it's okay.
Typical girl. Laughing at death and drama.
The first documented suicide was on January 22nd, 1927, but a gentleman by the name of Percy Cook. He was 52 years old, and he shot himself in the head because he could not reconcile with his wife and child.
That's gonna be tough, Yeah, I mean, I don't have kids, but I don't know. Maybe I think they take that back because they broke up for a reason. Did he?
Yeah.
Was he responsible for the breakup? You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's unless you're there, unless you're part of that situation, it's no real way to know everything. And I mean, it's awful that he got to that point, but we don't know anything.
Right, and because of that, you again, we all know the hotel's famously haunted. there could be tons of energy from that cause right there.
Yeah.
Ton of energy just soaked into the atmosphere, into the essence of that room, the energy that must be there. You kill yourself, it's gonna leave a lot of energy.
I would think so. And when I first started reading about this gentleman, I was like, my first thought was the Great Depression, but this was actually like around 2 years before the actual start of the Great Depression. So yeah, I find it very sad. Then there was a 4-year gap to the next suicide, which was W.K. Norton in 1931, and he took poison capsules. That's got to be a terrible way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a poison capsule.
How bad did your life have to be to commit suicide? That's gonna be really.
I struggle with the poison capsules. I struggle with 100% thinking that was a suicide for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
Very well known through history. Poison is a woman's. That's what women do. That's a woman's tool. It is. Yep. And the agony that you're going to go through after taking that poison, I feel like if you were looking to end things, you wouldn't be looking to end them very slowly.
Do we know W.K. Norton is a man?
I thought it was.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I would assume too, but I don't know.
Yeah,
then you say that, I'm like, well, technically, I guess it could be a woman, but probably not. Probably
I'm almost positive it was, but that's
a woman. Damn well would have said Wendy. Blah blah. You know what I mean? They would have said,
But that's a great point.
Put it out there.
It's a great point because it is a pretty bad way to go. But
that's what I do, Tom. I throw out great points.
So
just threw Tom off. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I lost.
Right. Why'd you come back? Why did you come back?
It was so, and like you said, how to kill yourself. Now this is the 30s. Psychiatry, psychology is in its infancy at that point. We know so much more about the brain now. Were there these people bipolar, severely depressed, whatever, schizophrenic?
Isn't that crazy? Like, we know so much, but so little.
Yeah.
Can you imagine back in those days, we knew nothing, and everything we knew, I'm gonna dare say was probably wrong, or at least a good portion of it probably wasn't even close to being right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know, but I'm gonna guess because we've come so far, but yet we still look at the NFL concussions. We're still trying to figure out, what's actually causing this. They think they're coming up with some ideas, but the brain is such an amazing muscle.
It really is.
It's ridiculous how amazing it is.
It really is.
We just can't grasp.
And to that point, it's like, how little we knew. Like women back then, suffering from depression, everything was under melancholia, they would call it back in late 1800s, early 1900s. Like, and it was very common with women. Oh, she's suffering from a bout of melancholia and stuff. So
that explains Shay. Now I get it.
Yeah. Well, back then too, and before that too, they were a husband was able to commit his wife if he wanted to leave her.
Good point.
That's
for no other reason. Just he was done with her. So here you go. And she usually ended up getting assaulted or her teeth pulled out or her whatever. I mean, so many different things.
Lobotomized.
I'm not ashamed to say this. I am glad I'm a guy.
Dude.
The stuff women go through, you guys go through some crazy, ridiculous stuff.
Don't get me started. I know.
Man.
Oh, for sure.
I work in the medical field, and just the glimpses I see, and like I hear the woman talk, and they tell me things, and it's like, holy fuck! Like women, like guys, we don't get what women go through, and I don't know. I don't understand why. I don't know because we don't listen. We don't listen very well. I don't know why, but we just don't get what women go through. But that's not a women's show.
We haven't had
I could very easily.
you can
That's
have
it.
sympathy. You can have sympathy without having empathy.
Yes.
You can still feel for what someone is going through, male or female, whatever, without having to have that empathy. The empathy gives you a different view and more perspective on it, but to have that sympathy is really all anyone can ever even think about asking for.
Yeah, that's
Thanks, Freud.
perfectly said. And to that, it's men. The problem is, it's like it's sort of along the lines of systemic racism or systemic sexism. Men never had to Shay's point. You were done with your wife. You decided that you wanted the hot little 19-year-old down the road. You had your life committed, and they pulled a teeth, lobotomized, whatever, because you were just done. You had decided you were bored. You were bored with her because she was 26 years old, and that was old then. And so men never had to. So it's that sort of systemic thing that it's just built into generation after generation after generation, and it's you kind of oblivious to it. It's
here's something naughty, but I'm gonna be good.
It's very sad.
I was gonna go somewhere. I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that.
And we have a long way to come. But
yeah, we do. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I always hate when people say, "Oh, we've come a long way." Well, okay, but that doesn't mean rest on your laurels. That means keep going.
Think about that for a minute.
You strive for perfection.
Yeah, what? The fact that you have to say that, like, think about that for a minute. We've come a long way. I think making an excuse from where you came from.
Yeah.
How about instead of making excuses, don't do it again and make the future better? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I hate that saying.
Exactly.
I hate that saying.
I do too.
Like, man, it just, to me, it makes no sense. It's like you're apologizing or making excuses for the past.
Mm-hmm.
The past happened.
I was getting my master's degree at ASU, and I was taking one of my degrees is in theater, and I was in this class, and I dealt with this theater style called theater of the oppressed, and it was a great class, and we had the makeup in this class was unbelievable. We had people from every walk of life. I mean, there was a transgender person in the class. There was, female Native Americans. And I just remembered that we were having a discussion because the discussions usually got very deep. And he was a little bit younger, and he was, a white male, probably about 19, 20, and had lived a life of semi-luxury. I'm not saying he was rich or anything like that, but we all know the advantages that white males like myself have over pretty much anybody else in this world. And he had made a comment, and he was just like, and we're having this, and I forget exactly what it was. And he said that, but we've come so far. And this girl, and I was good friends with her, a Native American female, and she just busted out crying. And I felt bad because afterwards people started not attacking him physically, but were just like, dude, you don't even know what you're saying and where you're coming from. And this was 10 years ago, before a lot of these conversations were even happening, 12 years ago or something. And it stuck with me because it was just like, you're kind of, before I ever heard anybody talking about privilege, this kid is just coming from a place of privilege and basically discounting her life experiences because he felt as though we've come far. And it's a cop-out, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's a cop-out because you strive for perfection, knowing that you'll never get there, but you try every day you try to be better. So anyway, we jumped off on a long diatribe.
It's all right. What I'll do is I'll probably take this out, but maybe we'll promote it for the video.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
It was good stuff.
Yeah, Shay? Yeah, it really was. Yeah, Shay.
I want to know what you were going to say. It's going to bother me if you don't tell me.
What were we talking about?
You said you were going to not say something probably dirty, knowing you.
Yeah, what
we were
was the discussion at the time? You remember?
women's rights. Talking about like how just he was saying like women have it harder or
Oh,
have a hard time. And
when Tom was saying, he was saying how women would put their wives in the mental institution, give them a lobotomy because they want the next hero. I'm like, oh, I changed my mind. I want to go back to that era. Let's make women, I want the next
I'd be
hero.
gone.
I want my
I'd be
option.
committed.
That's what I was going to say. I approve of this. Let's go back to those days. I'm going to commit some women and get upgrade to a younger, better thing. But I was like, I probably shouldn't say that. I said it myself, and I don't do that very often. Normally, I don't care.
I thought it was funny.
We've already gotten a little deep, so I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't. Because I really don't care what I say.
He's evolving.
It's those dim spicy noodles. Those are so good. But anyway.
So, we talked about W.K. Norton and his poison capsule. And just to date, there is 13 confirmed suicides.
That's horrible.
At this location. There may have been more, but there's 13 confirmed suicides in less than 100 years. If you think about it, it was built in 1924. It's 2021, so 97 years or so.
I would love to go back in time to the first year that was built and go to that hotel. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Since I've gotten into the paranormal and being an investigator, I've gotten real big into our history, and you guys know this. I tell you this all the time. But like to see something historic like that, knowing where it is today, I mean, just get a different perspective of what it once was.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be awesome.
If you guys said we're going to go to California, we'll stay at the Cecil Hotel, I'd be like, yeah. I can honestly say I'll go anywhere to do an investigation, except places where the living could affect us. Because I'm more scared of the living than I am the dead. Shane, you and I have discussed this before.
Yeah.
And, like you hear of the fame. I won't bring up the name. We're going to discuss the next episode. But there's a couple famous serial murders that possibly stayed there. And can you imagine? My luck, we'd go there. We went to a serial murder. Which should go? I don't know.
Doing my serial murdering, it's fine.
Oh, you're the serial murder. I'm okay with it.
That's a great point. It's a great point. It's the living is definitely more dangerous than the dead. And
even we did investigations, we were always concerned about the living.
Yeah, it would be tough to do an investigation there. It would. I think it would be tough to do an investigation there.
Yeah, I that's my one place I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. Even though the hot spots, man, like at the end of the next episode, you can even there's some paranormal teams that investigated there, and I'd like to watch some of their episodes to find out what they found.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
The infamous Ghost Adventures went there this year. Really? This year, I guess. There's an episode for 2021. It's in my notes here that they investigated it.
So, I'll mention one more, and then we'll sort of tease for the next episode. But it's all, as we said, it has a reputation for violence, murder, and suicide. And we discussed the suicide. One of the more famous murders, there was a woman that stayed there by the name of Pigeon Goldie Osgood. She was
love that name.
I do too. There's pictures of her that you can find where she's out feeding the pigeons and they actually land on her arms and her shoulders and on her head and stuff. Yeah, that's why she was called Pigeon Goldie, because she would every day, first thing, go out there, feed the pigeons, and people just got to know her because she had pigeons all over her.
I thought she looked like a pigeon.
And in 1960, she was a retired telemarketer. And in 1964, she was raped, stabbed, beaten, and then killed. And then her room was ransacked. A man by the name of Jacques Ellinger was charged, but he was later cleared of the crime. And to date, no one has been arrested or convicted for this crime.
That room's got a lot of energy.
Yes. She was supposedly very, very loved there.
Probably not by everybody.
Yeah, well.
Or the person loved her so much that she wouldn't reciprocate, and that's what made him do it.
Could be.
Either passion, you never know. You know,
you never know. You
that's
know.
the sad part.
So, do we want to just sort of like now tease for next episode?
Yes.
All right. Like I have, and whoever wants to do it, I have, Night Stalker was one of the people that stayed there. The serial killer Jack Unterweger, or whatever, however you say it, and then Eliza Lamb. And then you had mentioned too that some of the teams that have been in there, if we want to tease that as well.
Sure.
So how do we want to do it?
I'll do the teams.
Okay.
Will we do that first?
Well, maybe we should probably do the just these people. So in doing the Night Stalker, and Elizabeth Short we talked about too, just the rumor of Elizabeth Short. So how do we want to say this?
Say that there were. You can say that there were rumors about the Black Dahlia. What happened to her at the hotel? Did anything happen to her at the hotel? Stay tuned for next episode and find out.
Okay. All right. So,
what do you think, Shay? You're our writer.
I'm
being serious. I'm being serious.
I like that, but I almost feel like you're given too much by actually bringing her up by name. I would hint at who it might be.
Okay. How would you hint at it?
So.
Woman whose body was found in the Hollywood Hills? Would that be too much too?
I still feel like that's too much because I feel like I think body in the Hollywood Hills.
Yes. So next week we'll be discussing. We're going to get more in depth and talk about some of the famous or infamous guests that have purportedly stayed at the Cecil, something like that, without giving away.
I like that because that's going to prompt people to look it up too, and do their own digging at the same time.
Okay, all right. Let me just work out how to say it. All right. All right. Well, I'll try, and then I can always redo it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Get it out and you do it.
Yeah. So, and I want to tie it back to that. All right. Here we go. So those are just some of the famous cases of violence. But next week, we're going to dig a little deeper and take a look at some of the infamous guests that may or may not have stayed at the Cecil Hotel throughout the years.
So good to me.
All right. We can add more. I can do it again, or.
No, I like it. It's short, it's sweet, and it doesn't give too much, but it makes you kind of want to look into it, and I like it.
Okay.
All right, let me go my little thing now.
Yep.
All right, guys. Also, we have some stuff for next week also about investigations, teams, TV shows. There's a pretty popular TV show that was based on the Cecil Hotel. there was a channel that did a docuseries on the hotel. There was a horror movie, really good horror movie based on the hotel. And you can also check out the Netflix, was it a 4-part episode, 3-part episode? That was really good on the Cecil Hotel. But our info is a lot better. So stay tuned for that. All right.
Nice.
You guys good?
I'm good.
Shay, you said absolutely nothing today. You have nothing to add. Nothing you want to say.
I said a little bit. I'm interested in the history, but I'm excited about the next one.
I know when you get down and dirty, that's always the fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The setup's always the worst. It's like, I'm bad, but I watch a movie sometimes. I'll fast forward to all the crap because I want to get to the good stuff. You miss some stuff when you do that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to end this then. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, click that little bell so you stay up to date with what's going on. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can go to our website, www.podpage.com/The Reaper Paranormal Show. You can also go to any podcatchers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, Castbox, anywhere you listen to podcasts, we are there. We should be on iHeartRadio pretty soon. So look around. We're everywhere. Go find us. Great stuff coming. So for Tom and Miss Shay, thank you for listening. Have a great, great evening.